I operated the camera. So like the camera, zoom in, zoom out, make sure that everyone can see a good picture, make sure it's in focus, guide the laser, shoot the spot tracker.
How clear the resolution? How clear are these images?
It's pretty clear, depending on like atmospherics and how what your elevation is at. It can be pretty clear. We're just sitting there, and we're like, okay, these guys are obviously bad guys. You know, the guy in the back hears the sonic boom when it reaches him, and he runs forward. We were actually told to get the two guys in front, worry about the guy in the back later, follow him to wherever he goes. Guy in the back runs forward between the two, and we strike all three of them. And the guy that was running forward, when the smoke clears, there's a crater there, he's missing his right leg, and I watched this guy bleed out. And it's clear enough that I watch him, he's grabbing his leg and he's rolling. Like I can almost see the agony on this guy's face. And eventually, this guy becomes the same color as the ground that he bled upon. And
so he loses his heat. You watch him die.
Yeah. It was, you know how people say that drone strikes are like mortar attacks, artillery. Well, artillery doesn't see this. Artillery doesn't see the result of their actions. It's really more intimate for us because we see everything. We see the before action and then after. And so I watched this guy, I watched him bleed out. I watched the result of, I guess, collectively it was our action, but ultimately I'm the responsible one who guided the missile in.
So when did you start feeling bad about this program, and why? Why did it start to eat away at your...
Because I lost that respect for life.
So you'd become an assassin?
I'd become heartless. I'd become, and it like...
You felt like you were a hitman now?
Not necessarily. I just felt like a sociopath, actually, if you want to say that. I wanted to kill these people. These were bad guys. I mean, we had a list of their accomplishments underneath them, but instead of being like, man, these guys need to die, but I'm really sad that we have to execute extreme measures, I was like, man, I can't wait for these guys to die. When I left the 3rd SOS, they gave me a sheet of paper that had all my accomplishments on it. And they handed me this paper, so of all the missions combined, either directly fired shots, buddy lasers, helped bombs dropped from aircraft that I guided in, insurgents, raids, people that were captured. It was 1,626 total people killed on every mission that I've ever been on.
How did you feel when you saw that piece of paper and it written there, 1,626 dead people?
Disgusted with myself, actually.
I have 2 words for you: predator drones. You will never see it coming. You think I'm joking? I have 2 words for you: predator drones. You will never see it coming. You think I'm joking?
All right, we also have new information today about the military's controversial drone program, as classified intelligence reports show U.S. officials may have ordered strikes in Pakistan without fully knowing their target's identity. NBC News chief foreign correspondent Richard Engel has the story.
Does the U.S. always know who drone strikes are actually killing? NBC News has examined classified documents detailing 114 drone strikes in Pakistan in 2010 and 11. Locations, death tolls, alleged terrorist affiliations. But they also reveal what U.S. officials don't know, like how many killed. Between 7 and 10 in one strike, 20 to 22 in another. U.S. officials do seem certain they almost never kill civilians. In those 114 strikes, only one acknowledged civilian casualty.
They want to maintain the myth that civilians are not harmed with drone strikes, which is simply implausible.
What's more, about a quarter of those killed are described generically as, quote, other militants. It suggests U.S. officials don't always know exactly how many or who they're killing, sometimes targeting suspects based on what's called a signature terrorist profile, where they live, who they meet, who they talk to. Several former senior officials have told NBC News that they had concerns about signature strikes. One told us the U.S. sometimes executes people based on circumstantial evidence. But many counterterrorism officials insist drones are far more precise than conventional attacks, and they work with a proven track record against al-Qaeda.
It's been a tremendous step forward in military technology. It's combined the capabilities of surveillance, strike, and long endurance all in one platform.
Drones are part of war now, but determining from afar who is a terrorist remains less precise than the weapons used to kill them.
Richard will be joining us later. And Joe, though, you have been raising concerns about this for some time now.
Well, actually for years now, the idea that this is a sanitized version of war, that somehow this is a cleaner way to conduct operations. It may be cleaner for Americans that are able to control these drones from military bases halfway across the world. It's not cleaner, though, on the ground. And for people that think, again, and this is another great example of people that think that somehow we have moved away from the dirty wars of George W. Bush to the clean wars of Barack Obama, just have absolutely no idea what's happening on the ground. When you hear Richard talking about, quote, other militants. Other militants is a sanitized way of saying we killed people that we didn't know, that they were in the wrong place at the wrong time. And as I said yesterday and have been saying for some time now, they were in the wrong demo. They were males, 18 to 35 or 40, and they were in the vicinity of somebody else, a bad guy, and so they were killed. This is... I'm telling you, this is something, and, you know, Mika, I said this going back to 2009. This is something that we're going to be wringing our hands about for years to come when the truth of this program is put on the table. Again, we can do it, and it has been extraordinary. You talk to people in the intel community, they will tell you it has been extraordinarily effective in killing terrorists, in intimidating al-Qaeda, in breaking up the organization. My objections, my chief objections, first of all, are we're killing a lot more people than we did when we were going in and seizing terrorists.
Angle we have on this story is that al-Qaeda is now saying that it's extending its support to the Syrian opposition, as Washington is now preparing to back the opposition. It does seem perhaps a bit bizarre at first that they're both supporting each other in this against the Assad regime. America ultimately backing its enemy in the war on terror.
I don't think that al-Qaeda is too far from the United States politics in the region all over the world. Many branches of Al-Qaeda are in fact related to the United States, to the CIA directly. And mainly if you know that Al-Qaeda have been created originally by the United States, CIA or the regime in general. Accordingly, I think that the United States is behind Al-Qaeda in Syria as it was behind Al-Qaeda in Libya. It is the same, by the way. And that's why, I think Al-Qaeda is still trying to manipulate the Arab people that, Al-Qaeda is against the United States, because it is some form of internal compromise between the leadership of Al-Qaeda and the United States regime, so as to show that they are against the United States, because the United States